Miss McBirth just kept on insulting Miss Jackson, but her main argument is that Miss Jackson's baby looks nothing like her family members or even Mr. Hughes himself. She would then bring in some images to compare the two.
And you say the child looks nothing like your son?
That baby white as snow. There's no way that could be my grandchild or my son's baby. He has no features like none of us. Nobody in my family looked like that.
And just by looking at this child, you've determined and said to yourself, I do not believe that's my grandchild.
That can't happen. There's no way.
Miss McBirth would point out that the baby's skin complexion looks nothing like hers or Mr. Hughes, but what she failed to realize is that Miss Jackson has a similar skin complexion to the baby. Miss McBirth would then double down on her argument.
I see all the white. He ain't got no black in here. Everything I see got powder puff on it. I don't see no chocolate nowhere, okay?
No, ma'am.
Whatever.
Miss McBirth was being so disrespectful to Miss Jackson and her baby just because of his skin complexion, and this just isn't fair. Miss McBirth would then reveal her first reaction to seeing the baby.
I walked past them, and I kind of glanced over there, and I seen this little white baby. I knew it wasn't mine, and I ain't had nothing else to say or do about it since then. She need to get that out of her head. That child is not my son's baby, period.
African American, you know our children come in all colors, shades.
Elijah is very...
Miss McBirth was honestly so inconsiderate and kept on saying such disrespectful things about the baby who did nothing wrong. Miss McBirth would also mention that Mr. Hughes never even signed the birth certificate, and this caused a heated argument.
His name's not even on the birth certificate.
Stop lying.
Okay.
Whose name is on the birth certificate? Do you know?
Nobody's.
Exactly,
because he went. He was not there when he was born. Exactly. I could put anybody on there, but I didn't.
Exactly.
Because
you don't know.
You sure should.
Until he gets back, then when he can be on the birth certificate. So I was waiting for him.
So hold on,
and we was ready to put his name on it.
I want to understand this.
Miss McBirth just kept on screaming at Miss Jackson and acted so immature in the courtroom. Miss McBirth was extremely confident that her son wasn't the father. Miss Terrell, a witness, would then accuse Miss Jackson of engaging in some pretty crazy activity.
First of all, she's a liar because you just had a wild sex party that got shut down by the police station last week.
No, ma'am.
Yes, you did. Yes, you did. Yes, you did.
Some hoes in this
That is not true.
Yes, it is.
Miss McBirth.
Yes, it is. It is true because why is your neighbors complaining about the sex that goes on in your household?
There was no sex going on.
No,
read the police report if you want.
Miss McBirth and Miss Terrell just kept on screaming at Miss Jackson the entire time. Miss McBirth is definitely one of the most insufferable people on paternity court, as she insulted the baby even though he did absolutely nothing to her.
When you look at this picture,
it makes me want to throw up.
it seems like your son is kissing the baby. It makes you want to throw up.
It makes me want to throw up because it's a lie.
Why? For your son to be kissing an innocent child?
Because it's not his.
It doesn't matter, really, if he's showing the child love.
It's not his.
Miss McBirth was beyond delusional and genuinely believed that her son could do no wrong. The crazy part about this is that Mr. Hughes's father has a similar skin complexion to the baby. But Miss McBirth so conveniently never mentioned it until Mr. Hughes did.
Blonde hair, blue-eyed dude. So.
How you know? He just gonna say that because, she gonna freak him after this.
Yeah.
So now, wait a minute, you're accusing your brother of not having enough sense to testify as to his own experience?
He's told us it wasn't his baby. He just told us that it wasn't his baby. So how?
When did he tell you this?
Last night?
Even Mr. Hughes was human enough to admit that there was a chance he could be the father, since he is mixed himself. And Miss McBirth knew that she just didn't want to mention it. Miss McBirth would then analyze the features of all her grandchildren.
You don't look like nobody
all
I know.
my grandbabies don't have a bridge on their nose. That little boy got a bridge. My grandchildren all look alike. Every last one.
All his kids, all his kids
So
look
wait,
alike.
we're looking at the bridge of the nose.
Right.
And you're saying none of those match?
None of those match.
All of his
He doesn't
children
look
alike.
nothing like my son.
This entire situation was just depressing for the child, as he has constantly been told that Mr. Hughes wasn't his father. Miss McBirth would then express her frustration with this whole mess, and Judge Lauren called out Mr. Hughes for causing this mess for Miss McBirth.
The big picture of this is, she's not sick of the baby, she's sick of you. Cause you running around here. You running around here, you having babies. She just said it. And at the end of the day, it falls on her. The weight falls on her. The responsibility falls on her.
I don't sleep around like that.
Well, I don't know how many kids you got.
This whole case was just a mess, and Miss McBirth would just keep on insulting Miss Jackson and her baby. The stakes were astronomically high, but finally the DNA results were in, and it was time for the truth.
You are Elijah's father.
No! That's a lie! That's a lie! That's a lie! That's a lie! That's not true! You are lying, trick!
Buckle up, here we go! The court bells are ringing, and we're off to a fiery start with the case of Portis vs. Middlebrooks. Mr. Portis, alongside his mom, has dragged everyone to court for a DNA test, swearing up and down that he's not the daddy of Ms. Middlebrooks' little one, Ava. They lay out the drama, gearing up everyone for a roller coaster of emotions and paternity puzzles. Strap in, because the sparks are about to fly even brighter.
Mr. Portis, you and your mother have petitioned the court for a DNA test because you are certain you are not the father of the defendant's daughter, Ava. You say your life has been ruined and need today's paternity result to set the record straight.
You won't believe this next bit. Dishing out the deets with some serious frustration, Mr. Portis spills the beans on shelling out child support bucks for a kiddo he's not even sure is his. The air gets thick as Ms. Middlebrooks jumps in, throwing shade about missed court dates and stirring the pot even more. Their bickering reaches new heights, setting the stage for some juicy relationship secrets coming right up.
This started about 2 years ago. I started paying child support $75 for this baby, and I never knew if she was mine or not. We never took a DNA test. We tried to, but it didn't go through.
Don't you have to get a DNA before you can be put on child support?
We went
You
together.
didn't show up to court twice.
And that's because you had a court date.
And he missed. He
And you
missed the
missed
court date.
So you were named
And
the
they
father by
established
default.
paternity. Yes.
Yep.
Grab some popcorn as the tea is being spilled. Dive deep into the murky waters of their whirlwind romance. From chit-chats to dating at warp speed, all the way to baby alarms ringing just a few ticks later. Mr. Portis throws a curveball with talks of another dude in the picture, which throws a big fat question mark on the whole situation. The next clip is gonna drop more bombshells, so don't wander off.
We started talking first and then eventually started dating. It happened fast.
At what point did you find out you were pregnant?
A few months later.
But when she got pregnant, we stopped talking. So like, after the fact that she got pregnant, she had hit me up and was like, hey, I'm pregnant. Be prepared.
so wait,
for child
We were
support
definitely
and all this
together.
other
We were
stuff.
definitely together.
No,
I called you after I got the text.
No, we weren't, because I found out that she had another boyfriend.
Okay.
Plot twist incoming. Mr. Portis recounts his tale of disbelief when he found out about the bun in the oven. He wasn't buying it until a baby bump made an appearance during a casual drive by her place. The saga of mistrust and missed signals paints a sitcom-worthy scene of romantic blunders. Keep your eyes peeled. The confrontation coming up next is a total circus.
How you found out Ms. Middlebrooks was pregnant.
She had told me. I didn't really believe her at first, honestly.
Why do you think she'd lie?
I don't know.
When did it become real?
I pulled up to her. I pulled up to her house one day and I saw that she had a little bump, so I knew it was real.
Oh, so wait.
You don't show at a month or two like that soon.
Were you at the birth, Mr. Portis?
No, I was not, Your Honor.
Nah, just when you thought it couldn't get any more tangled, enter the ex. Mr. Portis turns the drama dial up to 11. Gossip about the ex-boyfriend also footing the bill for the little one. Double trouble, double confusion, and double the dads? Courtroom turns into a reality show, set with accusations flying and everyone talking over each other. Hold on to your seats, because the DNA reveal up next is a real jaw-dropper.
He was basically saying like, yo, Bryant, Jasmine, does she have you on child support and stuff like that? And I'm like, yeah, she does. She's been having me on child support. He was like, well, that's crazy because I'm taking care of her too. So it's like, he was in her life, like he was there, like holding her and, you know what I'm saying, having a relationship with her.
But you were the one on child
paying
support.
The child support.
And now, the moment we've all been waiting for, with bated breath. Drum roll, please.
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Portis, you are the father. I told you.
Ms. Harris brought Mr. Sterling to paternity court to prove he is the father of her child, Kaysen, from their 15-year on-off relationship. She wanted to convince Mr. Sterling to take responsibility and finally provide support.
First of all,
what did she tell you?
It is his baby, and he knows it's his baby.
That is not the truth.
It is his baby.
She tells me when we get to arguing, this is not your baby. And
yeah,
you need...
because he get on my nerves, and I don't want him to be in my life. So just like he want to move on and move on with his life, I do too sometimes. I hate I even met him.
Mr. Sterling doubts paternity because Ms. Harris told him herself that Kaysen wasn't his during heated arguments, and he firmly believes the timeline of conception doesn't match the time they slept together.
He was not stepping up to the plate.
And he was cheating the whole time I was pregnant.
That's a negative.
Before
That
he
is a
cheated
negative.
the whole
That
time,
is a negative.
and he's lying.
And so, hold on, Mr. Sterling.
Yes.
Because even if he was cheating, that's bad enough, and we don't want that, and we do not condone that in this courtroom. The question concerning
Ms. Harris claims that Mr. Sterling didn't step up as a father and cheated on her throughout the entire relationship. Mr. Sterling quickly denies all of this and affirms that the timeline of the events simply didn't add up.
So now, the first date on this calendar says that the doctor's appointment was on March 21st, and the doctor says that Ms. Harris is 6 to 8 weeks pregnant, and you had sex on Valentine's Day. So now, if we count back 6 to 8 weeks, 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks.
Not just all of that, but Ms. Harris admitted to being intimate with another man around the time of conception, so he's putting 2 and 2 together here. For him, it just doesn't add up, and he had valid doubt.
We were just together. I was just, you know, the baby's father and everything, but now all of a sudden
Did she tell you when she was with this other guy?
Yes, 2 weeks before we had sex on February 14th. It's not funny, man. What's so funny about this?
If you go back to the calendar, you're now saying...
During an argument when Ms. Harris was 8 months pregnant, she told Mr. Sterling that another man could be the father of the baby. This statement, made out of anger and frustration, implanted doubt in Mr. Sterling.
She claimed she was intimate with somebody else.
Amen, Your Honor.
So, Ms. Harris, did you have sex with another man 2 weeks before you had sex with Mr. Sterling?
It wasn't
on
2
the
weeks.
porch?
It was like 3 weeks. It was like not even 3 weeks.
So it's 2 to 3 weeks before you were intimate with Mr. Sterling. You were intimate.
Ms. Harris finally admits that she had intimate relations with another man 3 weeks before she was intimate with Mr. Sterling. This changes everything and shows that there was a real possibility she was just lying.
Why execute the birth certificate if you know you have doubt?
The thing about it, Your Honor, like at the 8 months when we got into it over the argument, I thought it was just because she might have been mad. Maybe she did just say this out of the side of her.
You knew you cheated, you lied, and you wrong.
Whatever. So maybe she did say this out of just spite, you know what I'm saying? So when she had the baby, I still was there. I was still there, and I was still doing what I can, being by her side.
What was you doing? You went
rubbing your big old feet, rubbing them big old legs, them hips, them wrists.
Ms. Harris claims Mr. Sterling was cheating on her throughout the pregnancy, including flirting with nurses during her doctor visits and hospital stay. He attended all her doctor's appointments and was at the birth.
I was still there, and I was still doing what I can, being by her side.
What was you doing? You went
rubbing your big old feet, rubbing them big old legs, them hips, them wrists. Yeah.
He's trying to jump.
Baby, I look ugly. No, baby, you look good.
I'm out. No, don't worry, Miss Harris. I'm not laughing.
I was there.
But get away.
I rubbed them.
Mr. Sterling reveals he signed the birth certificate because he was convinced that Ms. Harris only told him he wasn't the father out of pure anger. Regardless, he still made sure that he was part of every step of the pregnancy.
You are the father.
Exactly. So what you got to say now,
You
baby?
are father.
All this next. So you know we got to leave here. You know that, right?
You know what, Miss Harris? There are men that don't come see their children because they don't want to deal with a woman that acts like you. I'm keeping it real. But it's not because it's...
Despite all of the issues both of these people have with one another, the DNA test proved that Mr. Sterling is the father. With that out of the way, these two have to figure out how to put their problems.
Mrs. Moore is back in court to help her son to figure out if his daughter is really his. She's no stranger to this kind of drama. She revealed to her other son after 29 years that the man he thought was his dad wasn't his father.
As I'm pulling into the driveway, I see this black car, and this guy walks into the building we live in. Didn't think nothing of it, so I go into the house. They're still living here. I was told I wasn't there. Pretty much a deadbeat dad. Okay, and I explained to him, so if you look around,
Mr. Cooper had caught her in their house with another man who confirmed the affair too. She admits to the affair, saying that he'd put her through it so many times that she just wanted him to feel the same way somehow.
And Ashley, I love you stepped into this marriage knowing his past background, and you had your past background, but you...
Mrs. Moore thinks that even though Mr. Cooper was talking to other women, it's not right for Mrs. Cooper to have a full-blown affair while being married. In her point of view, their issues are her fault, not his.
Okay, the doubt is, first off, now I know who the other guy is.
Okay.
When I actually had a chance to meet him,
Mr. Cooper actually knows the other guy in question here, and was even friends with him at one point, not knowing he'd end up sleeping with his wife.
Is it your concern Armani looks more like this other man than you?
My concern is this. When I look at Armani, I don't see me.
Ask them for advice on conception day and everything. They told me I conceived at the end of June.
Mr. Cooper's doubts about their daughter's paternity are partly based on how she looks. She has light skin and blue eyes, and he says she looks nothing like him. Mrs. Cooper argues that this can be explained by genetics.
I hope that this is my biological granddaughter. However, if it's not, then I feel like Ashley should really reach down deep inside of herself. I don't care if you make a if she make a possibility list and he put a possibility list, and if you want me out of your marriage, don't pick up the phone and call me.
Mrs. Moore just wants them to have the truth so their children don't have to suffer the way she did or the way her older son is suffering. With the truth, they can work it out and raise the children without any doubts in the back of their minds.
It comes to the paternity of 1-year-old Armani Nairi Cooper. Mr. Cooper, you are not her father.
The DNA test results reveal that Mr. Cooper is not the biological father of Armani. Mrs. Cooper completely broke down, but she still had Mrs. Moore and Mr. Cooper by her side. They didn't want anything to change, they just wanted the truth.